Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in, because today we're taking a hard look at humanity's absolutely most exhausting habit, this endless, nonstop treadmill of desires we're all stuck on. Have you ever noticed how the pure joy of finally getting exactly what you wanted, like that amazing little dopamine hit when an Amazon package you've been waiting days for finally shows up, just kind of fades the second you actually open the box? We literally spend our entire lives chasing the next big thing, totally convinced that just over the horizon is where we'll finally find relief from our daily anxieties.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. What actually happens right after you finally achieve that one big goal or buy that one thing you've been desperately saving up for? As a kid, you always think, oh, once I grow up, life is going to be so easy. And then it becomes, once I finish school, and then once I get a secure job or buy a house or save enough money for the kids, the entire span of a human life just slips right through our fingers while we're obsessing over after this. But let's be real, when does that after actually arrive? The truth is, the exact second one desire is fulfilled, a brand new one pops up right in its place.
We kind of treat life like this massive ladder that just doesn't even have a final step. And look, the problem isn't that we have desires, right? Wanting water when you're thirsty is totally natural. Wanting a better life for yourself is completely valid. The real illusion here isn't the desire itself, it's this false belief that one single achievement is going to permanently satisfy a mind that is literally hardwired to adapt and demand more. If you got every single thing you ever dreamed of today, the wealth, the respect, the security, you'd be thrilled for a few days, maybe satisfied for a few months. But inevitably, your mind would just normalize all of it and immediately start scanning for the next target. So here's the real kicker. If peace was only waiting for us at the very end of the road, well, we'd literally never find it. True peace is actually about how you maintain your balance while you're walking the path, not just sitting around waiting for the path to end. We constantly lie to ourselves, saying things like, when I get a raise, I'll finally be at peace, or when these problems go away, I can relax. But life experience shows us that no destination is permanent. One problem gets solved, and bam, another one starts. If you're waiting for the road to be perfectly smooth before you allow yourself to enjoy the walk, you're going to completely miss the flowers that are blooming right next to you today.
All right, let's move into Section 1, the message of pain and failure. Have you ever had one of those moments where your perfectly laid plans just completely fall apart? A crushing failure, an unexpected illness, and it feels like the universe is just out to punish you? Well, imagine a potter shaping a lump of clay. If that clay could talk, it would probably scream out, calling the potter's slaps incredibly cruel and unfair. It would have absolutely no idea that those exact strikes are what's actually giving it shape and purpose. Life operates pretty much the exact same way. The events that feel like they're breaking us are very often the exact things molding us into a newer, far stronger version of ourselves. Obviously, when we're in pain, we aren't trying to be philosophical about it. We just want it to stop. But fighting our wounds or trying to just pretend they didn't happen completely robs us of the lessons they bring. Because the truth is, our story just isn't written entirely in the light. We are fundamentally built out of our shadows just as much as our brightness. Think about it. We are made from those absolutely exhausting nights of crippling doubt, from our most embarrassing failures, and from those isolating moments when we felt like everyone had abandoned us. Those aren't just bad memories to sweep under the rug. They are literally the core architectural pillars of who you are today. If you refuse to accept them, you're basically refusing to accept your own complete story.
Which leads us nicely into Section 2, the difference between inspiration and comparison.
Okay, we really need to talk about this massive modern crisis we're all dealing with right now. The sheer exhaustion that comes from constantly trying to be someone else. We've all fallen into this toxic doom scrolling trap, constantly comparing everyone else's highly curated, glossy stage with our own messy, unpolished backstage. We see someone's brand new car, their perfect vacation photos, or their huge career milestone, and then we look at our own reality, our daily grind, our messy living rooms, our self-doubt. And what's the completely flawed conclusion we jump to? We think, man, everyone else is moving forward, and I'm the only one falling behind. But we only assume they're happier because we are exclusively looking at their highlight reel.
Nature actually has this totally figured out. The neem tree doesn't wake up in a panic trying to be a mango tree. The massive, deeply rooted banyan doesn't sit around envying the bright red flowers of the gulmohar. Everything in nature just grows according to its own inherent blueprint. It's crazy when you think about it. Humans are pretty much the only creatures on Earth carrying around this incredibly heavy, exhausting burden of trying to live someone else's life instead of just blooming in our own way. We completely drain ourselves just pretending to be something we aren't.
So you might be wondering, well, if I stop comparing myself to others, how do I stay motivated? The answer is inspiration. And there is a massive, stark contrast between the two. Comparison completely derails us because it hyperfocuses on what we lack. It whispers in your ear, hey, be exactly like them or you're a failure. It weakens you from the inside out and traps you in your insecurities. Inspiration, on the flip side, just uses other people as a guidepost to unlock your own potential. It pushes you forward by asking a much better question. What can I actually learn from them? One traps you. The other totally liberates you.
When you finally shift your mindset from comparison over to inspiration, you realize something huge. Real growth has absolutely nothing to do with beating the person next to you. A seed that's growing into a tree isn't competing with the seed beside it. A river doesn't look at another river to figure out how to flow. True growth is just about making these tiny, incremental improvements over whoever you were yesterday. I mean, reading literally one extra page, walking for just 10 more minutes, or here's a big one, complaining just one time less today. They seem so insignificant, right? But an entire ocean is made of drops, and your character is built entirely out of these small, consistent daily habits.
All right, let's dive into section 3, the true purpose of life.
But listen, all that growth, if it doesn't have direction, it's basically just wasted energy. Imagine a sailor rowing incredibly hard, sweating, putting in all this effort, but the boat is pointed the completely wrong way. All that hard work is just taking them further from where they want to be. We have this really common misconception that if we aren't literally changing the world or getting our names in the headlines, our lives somehow lack purpose. We've heavily dramatized this whole idea of purpose, assuming it has to be some massive historical mission. But life is rarely ever that cinematic. Actually, scratch that. If you just wait around for a moment where the whole world stands up and applauds you, you're going to be waiting forever, and you'll completely miss the actual purpose standing right in front of you.
Honestly, some of the absolute most valuable things you can do in this world make zero noise, yet they can entirely change the trajectory of someone's life. Giving unconditional love to your family, quietly mastering a craft, just doing your day job with pure, rock-solid honesty, or easing someone's burden without ever bringing it up again, being a guiding light for just one single person. These are incredibly profound purposes, and they don't require an audience at all. The true value of your work is definitely not determined by how many people are watching you do it.
It's a lot like a bee. Think about it. A bee doesn't land on a flower expecting some massive, grand reward. And it definitely isn't actively thinking about saving the global ecosystem. It's just doing its simple, everyday work. Yet, inadvertently, it balances all of nature. And when you start viewing your own daily work like that, not just as a way to secure a paycheck, but as a vital, necessary thread in this massive societal fabric we all share, work transforms. It stops being this heavy burden and becomes a really beautiful expression of purpose. But here is the catch. Even when we find that meaningful work, we have this terrible habit of constantly mortgaging our present moments to pay for a future that literally hasn't even arrived yet. We push away a chance to play with our kids, or we half listen to a conversation with a loved one, telling ourselves, oh, I'll be happy and present when this project is done or when I retire. We completely ignore the fact that these tiny, fleeting moments are the actual substance of life. The future doesn't exist yet, and the past is completely gone. Life is happening right now, literally in this exact second. And that brings us to our fourth and final section, the boundless peace hidden within. So, how do we actually stop this whole anxious time traveling thing? How do we turn down the overwhelming volume of the modern world and find our center again? Well, we can look straight back to nature, which is honestly the greatest masterclass on living in the present. Just taking a minute to observe the morning sun or actually listen to the rain helps us reconnect with this deeply grounded rhythm that we've completely lost to our glowing screens and city hustles. Trees stand perfectly rooted without stressing over tomorrow's storm. Rivers flow without carrying the heavy baggage of where they used to be. And clouds just drift effortlessly. They aren't looking over at another cloud feeling insecure. Nature operates on this perfect, harmonious rhythm, and just existing in it reminds our brains of how to simply be. And when you do manage to just stop and ground yourself, something kind of magical happens. You realize that literally thousands of invisible hands are sustaining your life every single day. I mean, think about it. From the farmer who grew the tea leaves for your morning cup to the person who wove the fabric of the bed sheets you sleep on, your entire existence relies on this massive, unseen network of human effort. The second you truly internalize how much support you have, your complaints just vanish. You stop hyper-focusing on what you don't have, and immense gratitude just takes over because you realize how incredibly abundant your life already is.
And realizing that naturally connects us back to everyone else. We figure out pretty quickly that happiness isn't this solitary, isolated thing. True harmony in a society doesn't mean erasing our personalities or just blindly agreeing with the crowd. A beautiful garden is stunning precisely because the rose, the mogra, and the marigold are all blooming side by side in the exact same soil, but they each keep their completely distinct, unique fragrance. We just have to learn to bloom uniquely, bringing our own individual strengths to the collective beauty of the whole thing.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. We spend so much time feeling like a tiny, separate little wave, just desperately struggling to rise higher than all the other waves around us. But really ask yourself, is the existence of the wave separate from the ocean? No, it literally is the ocean. That boundless peace, that validation, and the fulfillment you've been so exhausted from chasing externally, it's always been right there inside you. Because you are already intricately, perfectly connected to the universe itself. You don't actually need to go out and find peace. You just need to realize you're already a part of it. So take a deep breath, feel this exact present moment, and just embrace the beautiful journey you're already on.